Ah, one more to scratch off the list.
All right, guys, here we're going to talk about the movie Never Cry Werewolf. 2008's Never Cry Werewolf. Lee, have you seen it before?
I had not seen it.
Ooh, this one had potential for you could have seen it because this is starring our boy, Kevin Sorbo.
Starring is a generous term.
He is on the box.
Yes.
That means he is a starring character.
I would describe it as featuring Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo,
yes.
Sometimes less is more. And I think it's mostly because they can only afford so much of him. But what you get, I enjoyed. I
Yes.
think Kevin Sorbo is very fun in some movies, and this is one of those movies where I enjoy his character. He plays the great white hunter of a sort.
Racist?
Well, that's a term.
I'm joking. I think that he's used effectively here, and he delivers. Where he has in other films phoned it in, or been he delivered some enjoyment to me by being so horrible,
or delivered some Jesus.
Tragedy strikes everyone eventually, and that's what happens. But no, I thought Kevin Sorbo. Kevin Sorbo was obviously the highlight of this movie. I think the movie kind of blows. What are your thoughts?
Well, I liked it. I saw it when it first came out.
Yeah.
This was my rewatch. I'd only seen it once before this, so I've seen it twice now. I don't think it blows. I think it has some great concepts in this movie that I'll go into in spoilers. I think it has a great looking werewolf costume.
Oh, yes.
I like the full muzzled werewolf. I hate when it's flat-faced werewolf. This one I think does it well. I think the characters are fun. The guy who plays the werewolf looks like Chris D'Elia and kind of acts like what we now know of Chris D'Elia.
That...
a bit rapey for the younger age kids.
Viewed through that lens, I enjoy it more. It's a funny biography. We explain the backstory to his shenanigans.
No, but anything with Kevin Sorbo automatically gets a bump up, especially if it's a good use of him.
Yeah.
And I think this was. I like werewolf movies in general, so that's something I am more apt to give a better rating. It has more than one word for the title, so that knocked it down slightly. Had it been called Werewolf, I think I would have liked
Just
it
the word werewolf?
Just the word werewolf.
He's a simple man. He likes one-word titles.
I like one-word titles. I like a cover that features actors that are actually in the movie. That's actually a still from the movie. It's not a posed, thing. I think that's fun.
It was in color.
It was in color.
And cameras.
I heard what they were saying.
I could hear them, but sometimes you could hear them less good because maybe they were on the phone. Oh, it was amazing. They did all these things.
No, overall, it's a low-budget movie. So it's
And
not a Academy Award-winning thing with these famous actors.
I agree with you that there were some good ideas, and I was infuriated that the ideas were not paid off better or employed better, and that's where I'm coming at. I found it a frustrating experience.
But this will inspire someone to in 10 years make something even more amazing with some of these elements that may be part of a werewolf lore that I've never heard of before, or they invented here. Either way, it was brought to my attention and I like. So I will say this is a fun movie. Definitely check it out. If you've seen it, follow us over to spoilers, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, here we are for the spoilers of Never Cry Werewolf. All right, so the concept that I love about this movie is where it opens. It opens with a werewolf, killing this pedophile guy. And, it strings him up first, and you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck is happening? Is this some vigilante for justice, werewolf?
Superhero werewolf.
What's going on here? And then, as soon as it hangs him, you're like, okay, it's going to make it look like a suicide. And then it rips his throat out, and you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? And you're like, okay, what the fuck for a minute
So
here.
far, we've not reached a positive, I think. But
I love later on their explanation of you can turn into werewolf from the moon, or if you have the skin of a convicted man or something like that.
The transformation can be made at will using a charm, which is made from the skin taken from the neck of a hanged criminal. Ew.
Yeah.
And how he then uses this to turn against the moon on a normal day. He wraps this man's neck, which he had a barbed wire tattoo on his neck, which makes it interesting. So when he wraps his hand,
making
you know
it
what
more
it is.
distinct when he wraps it around himself.
He can turn himself into a werewolf. Yeah. And I have not seen a thing like that where either in a world you can turn whatever you want or you can't. I've never seen this middle ground where, with this charm, I can do what I want.
Yeah, I thought it was confusing and awkwardly delivered.
It was delivered very confusingly.
Well, so at one point I'm like, but he was a werewolf when he killed the guy.
Yes, I had the same thought.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, are they trying to say that that's giving him the power to change at will?
Yes.
Okay, what? is happening?
No, I will 100% agree that the first time I watched this, I was like, that's a plot fucking flaw because they showed a werewolf. That was a werewolf.
Right.
He didn't just gain the power then. And I wonder if you were not a werewolf and you had that skin, could you turn into a werewolf? Like is it magical?
Yeah. Awesome things to like whatever. It's crazy. The movie's crazy.
It is crazy.
I think when did she figure that out? Is that right in the beginning? Like 20 minutes into the movie, we get like a rapid fire recap of everything that's happened.
Look, it's all here. You can tell if a person's a werewolf if they have hairy palms.
And literally the only thing that has happened has been explaining stuff.
Pretty good with my hands. And I work a lot at night. I'm one of those guys that doesn't need a lot of sleep.
And then there's like a musical montage of her like clicking and researching everything. They show you more quick flashes of stuff, and then her friend comes over and she tells her friend everything. It's insane.
The worst part of the movie for me is very early on when the neighbor gives her brother to ride to school on his motorcycle, instantly making him popular or whatever.
That's how
Everyone
it works.
surrounds it, loves it, like, oh, I've never seen a two-wheeled vehicle.
Lore, this bike. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's sick.
She like shakes his hand. She's like, "Ooh, his palm was hairy, like a werewolf."
He's got hairy palms. Oh, you mean like a werewolf?
And I'm like, "Wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Are they calling this out on the nose like right away?"
That's before the research.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Very.
This takes place in like an alternate universe, in which sometimes that works in like an alternate universe where like, oh, vampires are like this and everyone knows or something like that, right? Or no one's ever heard the word zombie before, and that's fun, right? We do little spins, little jukes and everything. But yeah, here to show her do all that research and then to have other people, instantly on board with like, oh, okay, cool. That's how that's how werewolves work. I get it.
But the flip side is the girl is the friend is the one that called it out, and she's like, "Oh, like a werewolf?"
Like the whole
and then,
world
then she's
knows,
like, "A werewolf? You're an idiot, bitch. I'm leaving." And I'm like, I thought you would be more supportive. You seem to be the person that had the first key evidence.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I like where it goes from there. I like her strapping up and like figuring shit out. She like takes silverware and puts it on a crossbow and does shit. I did like that.
Here was my journey with that, because I was like, what the fuck? You're just gonna strap a butter knife to an arrow in your crossbow, and that's your like silver arrow thing? And in my head, I'm like, that's like something like a kids movie would do. That's like a kids movie version, or like an Ernest movie version of We Have to Kill a Werewolf. And then I was like, no, Monster Squad. They're in like metal shop, and he's melting silverware and forging bullets. And I was like, did I make that up? And I'm googling like Monster Squad melting silver.
Good comparison, because Monster Squad, I'm sure she's seen it, proved that the Wolfman has nards. And in this one, a combination of sexual awareness and soccer allowed her to
Modern sexual awareness and soccer.
hit that boy in the nards.
He does in fact have nards.
He has nards.
But it's very important that we
No, I
strap
agree what
silverware
you're
to the
saying there.
arrows.
That like
I
the
figured-
things are cheesy.
I figured you would be like, that's not aerodynamic. The weight's all off. It's not going to work. Like, I figured you would go crazy.
That's a very large crossbow. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 200-pound pole. The problem I would have is that she ripped it back real easy. She was reloading that thing like it was nothing.
Oh,
that would be a very difficult.
It's just a string, yes.
Very difficult. But the reason I thought it was okay was because she killed the dog demon she just shoved keychains into the barrel of a gun and the bullet shot those bullets out.
Take mine out!
And got that guy. And I'm like, okay, so like it might not even have to penetrate very hard. It might just be if you're pierced by a silver, you die.
No,
I thought that was the thing she was acting under.
Yes.
That like, oh, I just have to pierce him with silver and he'll die. But it was proven later on, which she couldn't have known, is that if he can pull it out, he doesn't die. He's like, oh, it's out of me. What are you, an idiot? It has to stay in me. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And then that made it, a little fucked
No,
up.
and like I understand why they're not doing the forging of silver scene or
She
something.
could have
like
sharpened
that.
the knives or put a sharper knife. I actually trying to think of like in silverware sets if there ever are like silver steak knives. I don't know.
I don't know. It's fine.
I've
but
never even
yes.
had, I don't think, silver
Like,
wares.
In every werewolf movie, you've got the werewolf. In every movie like this, right? You've got something and garlic, and you have to smash them together, and then we have to fight them with it. And sometimes it's dumb, sometimes it's genius. There's like a spectrum here. I just thought it was hilarious because you're like, oh, she's like suits up, and I'm like, yeah, she's like taping, forks and knives to
it was
crossbow bolts. What? Oh,
I think it was tying it with twine or
it was
something.
like red did something. Yeah, I was like, what is happening?
The goofy part for me, the funny part for me for this was our werewolf dude who was like immortal. He's like all powerful. He has a demon dog, and I'm like, where do you get that? That just comes like
it's a familiar stuff.
But he just goes into a sporting goods store acting like a blind man. Like, and I'm like, is he acting like a blind man? And other people are like, that's a blind man. And then they say, oh, it's a blind man in a gun shop. And I'm like, everyone knows you're acting like a blind man. That's your plan, to be incognito, I guess, and let you bring the dog in.
Yeah, he has to get the dog in there.
Then you're just sort of fight with everyone in the place. And I'm like, what was the point?
There's a scene, there's a moment in that scene where like a security guard comes up to try to stop him, and it looks like he does like a Three Stooges, like, and just hits him like this. His hand is in like a weird shape when he punches him. It's very funny. And he takes the guys out, yes.
Oh, he rips the guy's hand apart.
But like, yeah, there's no, there can't be a plan. Because he sees them in there, and then he goes, and then he like says to his dog familiar, "That's my competition. Like, take care of him." And like takes his leash off and like sicks him.
There's my competition. Go.
So already his plan was to like destroy the whole place or like out himself.
To kill a kid in public would be your best case scenario.
Yes.
And your worst case scenario would be what happened, I imagine.
Like imagine like, oh, I'm not really blind, but that's not my dog either. No, I know how it looks. It's weird, but this kid's dead. Whatever. See ya. Like how?
There's no way that it plays out and makes any sense. It's weird. They go with the cougar theory when everyone in the store saw a giant fucking monster thing.
There was a cougar indigenous to this area. I couldn't get a clean shot at it because all my fans were running in panic, but I was able to wing it.
When Kevin Sorbo says, that's your word against mine, I'm like, the store was full of people.
Whoa, that's your word against mine.
Okay. I need your help.
Everyone saw a monster.
No, they all saw that thing, but didn't see the werewolf itself.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's what he's talking about. And to say...
Wait, but then is his story that the cougar melted?
Well, his story was I winged it.
Yeah.
And somehow that's where 50 gallons of blood sprayed the whole store.
That is just sick!
Oh, yeah, I winged it pretty good.
I'm pretty good at this.
A wounded animal's more dangerous than a non-wounded animal. That's not true.
Well, they're more desperate. Corn animal.
They may be more desperate. There's a great line in the Dora the Explorer live-action movie.
Oh, canon.
Where a lady goes, and I was like, yo, a wounded animal is the most dangerous animal there is. And Dora's like, no, it's not at all. How about a regular animal? That would be far.
For example, a regular animal doesn't have an injury to hold him back. And the old lady's like, fuck.
I was very curious about that Dora Explorer.
There's a lot of stuff more dangerous. For example, the same animal without an injury.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I love it. I gotta watch Dora the Explorer.
It's not good.
I said I have to watch it.
Back to this. So our boy Kevin Sorbo plays like a disgraced, essentially.
He's like a Steve Irwin / Bear Grylls.
Yes, but he
like
is the low-budget
guy,
cable access version, and he is an actor, not actually the hunter. So he is like one notch below the notch of a notch.
I'm really not a hunter. I'm an actor. Those scenes were staged.
I said what I said.
You said what you said. But he does it very well.
Calling out Bear Grylls.
I love his, I have a silver gun. Doesn't that count for something?
That's nice. Are the shells silver?
No. The gun is. Doesn't that count for something?
Stick to fake bears. You've got a lot to learn about werewolves.
I'm a quick study.
This is one of the best performances, honestly. When he goes on the rant and says, like, I'm pissing on the side of the road, like a hobo over here. This happens. My wife got everything in the divorce. He's acting. He's not phoning it in.
My ex-wife got the house. My series is canceled. I can't even afford gas. The toilet is busted. 15 years in television, I have to piss on the side of the road like a hobo.
He's not just like fucking around on set. Like he's really doing it. And there's moments throughout the whole thing where he might be delivering cringy dialogue or might be participating in a farcical, insane situation, but he's doing it.
No, I like him a lot.
I'm like, wow, you're actually doing it.
In certain parts, he's really good.
I was about to throw him in with like Bruce Willis or somebody else like that, who I'm like, I used to like them instead of like, I like them. I mean, this movie was not made yesterday, but I was seeing a lot of examples of Kevin Sorbo when not being Hercules, like letting me down, and
I think it's really the shame is that the people that are hiring Kevin Sorbo are these like low budget shitty movies.
Before their worst nightmares,
This thing is killing people.
come to life.
And like some of them are every once in a while he gets one that's really good, but it seems like he's taking a lot of roles without either like looking into enough or like not looking into them at all, because he doesn't seem to have that discerning taste where it's not like, oh no, that one's gonna hurt me. It's like, it's a paycheck. I don't give a shit. Whatever.
Exactly.
Or optimistic on these people selling this thing like, oh, CG's amazing. I'm sure they can make this look really good, and it just looks like shit. And you're like, fuck.
Damn. Not again.
But you give Kevin the right script and the right part.
No,
Hercules that shit out of it.
For some reason he did it here.
Yeah.
I was like, nice. Cause like when you first see him, you just see like like a TV commercial, but it's like diegetically in there, and it's like supposed to be like a cheesy bad commercial.
Yeah.
So I was like, uh-oh.
Remember, you can meet me in person at your local gun shop, Triggers and Bows. I'm Red Tucker. Happy hunting.
Right, I forgot because by then I'm like, I forgot he was in this. Oh no. And then when when you meet him for real, you start to get the vibe of him. He's like on the phone and like has to do facial acting with people. I was like, okay. And then he really ramped up.
By the way, that's my personal phone number.
The outfit is flattering too.
Yes.
Because it's good, like, and this is like 12 years ago, so he's younger. But even now, he has a good body, but he's an older gentleman at the moment. So like, you always keep putting him in these like wife beater shirts and stuff, and I'm like, well, he's still jacked at what is he, 60?
110?
58? I don't know how old he is. Maybe that might even be older than he is.
He's always wearing the leather pants.
No, they just always have him in like a young man's outfit, and I'm like, no, treat the man with respect. Give him fucking some awesome hunting attire, and he'll give you some shit.
Yeah, he's like wearing the costume of the thing he's pretending to be, and then gets a chance to really be that thing.
Yeah,
it's a neat little thing. I didn't think it really showed like the kind of growth that it needed to show. Oh, there's a scene where he says, I may not be a hunter, but I'm a hell of an actor.
I spent 10 years playing hunter on TV. People think I'm a real hunter. You want to know why?
Humor me.
Because I'm a hell of an actor.
Yes.
And I was like, that's great. I can't wait for that to matter. And I may get some of this wrong, so just let me know. But I don't think that matters, right? He never acts. He never tricks the werewolf. He never does anything, right?
No, I think there he just meant that like I can act like I can shoot, and that let me shoot this bullet. Because from his vantage point, he couldn't even see the werewolf, so he is a fucking hell of an actor.
I'm down with that, but I was waiting for him to like pretend to betray her or like trick the werewolf or do something.
I don't think he could, just because the werewolf is not smart enough.
You're the ultimate hunter, and I was, make me a werewolf like you. I've been pretending to be a hunter, but you're the ultimate hunter. I have nothing else to do. Here she is, and then it's like, what are you doing? And then he's like, winks at her, does a thing. I'm a hell of an actor, and then he gives his life to save her, or some weird thing like that. I'm like, it's great.
Nah, they wouldn't let Sorbo die.
Not in this movie, no.
So I said before, I like the werewolf in this a lot. I like the look of it. It has that like Dog Soldiers-esque werewolf look. Like not quite as good as that one, obviously, because
you don't see it quite as much. But yeah, the costume's definitely like a stronger point here.
It sells. Because like that's a straight up picture. Like usually in these movies, there's some weird photoshopped whatever as the cover, and like that's pretty much what you saw on screen as that cover.
I hate when the like cover of the box is
the
like,
end of the movie.
But it's like a painting of like perhaps a different type of werewolf. Where like they're four-legged in the movie, or vice versa, and they're like arms and legs on the bot, and you're like, what the hell am I watching? You just like sent the note like, that's a werewolf movie, and they're like, I fucking just drew whatever they want.
Well, they went on Fiverr, they got an artist, said I need a werewolf and a pretty girl, and they go, okay.
Got it. Yeah. But this is actually like from the movie.
That's what you get. Yeah. Exactly. I'm actually impressed that Kevin Sorbo's not on the cover, because
interesting, right?
You'd think that's your big name here. And your girls.
No, back then should have been like, well, and I don't think she was on Vampire Diaries yet, right? I don't know when that show was
No,
out.
I think this was before that.
This is before that, and this is back long ago enough
that
that
it might have been right around that, actually.
Might have been in the pocket?
Yeah, it might have been in the pocket.
But Kevin Sorbo, I would have thought would have still been a draw in 2008. When did Hercules go off the air?
Well, Hercules was off, but Andromeda was on, I think.
Yeah, right? He was doing stuff, is my point.
Yeah. He had a steady work for quite some time. Yes. Yeah.
So the werewolf you also mentioned is dumb.
Yeah, dumb. He's afraid of fire no matter what.
Yeah.
Huh? Fire. That's what you're afraid of. Get back.
The werewolf in human form is like an almighty being.
Yeah.
He does not use any of these powers at all. Like, he heals almost instantly. He can hear fucking from forever away. Right. He has a demon dog that I would like to have known more about and how he got him. How did he get it familiar? Did he actually have to summon that shit? Is that a thing? Did they find you? Or are they like, hey, Alpha Dog, I'm your boy?
He's trying to make a new one.
That's what they say, but that guy was never going to turn into a dog. That guy was clearly a werewolf.
He was turning into like one of the kangaroo people from Warriors of Virtue. he looked really weird. His whole face was all lopsided and lumpy.
Well, that's
and
because
stuff.
until midnight he wasn't going to fully
I know
transform.
that.
Yeah.
But it was still funny. He's like Renfielding out and turning into like a half-twisted monster creature. Werewolf.
I didn't dislike that because I like the practical effects, I like things happening. Him and Kevin Sorbo have some interesting interactions.
The effect's good because it has his nose ring still in it, even though his face has changed. Right. I always like that when they keep stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the red tip, I think, too, was there when he was.
It certainly was.
When he was weared out and stuff.
Kevin Sorbo throws a stick at one point, and that guy chases it for a minute and is like, "What? Fuck you!
What am I doing?
Oh, you're a terrible shot."
I liked some of the points with him, though. You mentioned he can like hear and stuff. This is more stuff where I think like things could have been like executed better or something like that. There's a point where he's on top of like the shed or something.
Yeah. He's
sawing, doing whatever. He's like, I'm a burly working man, and then there's two ladies show up. They're talking back and forth to him, and then like in like a quick change, he's suddenly like standing right next to them.
Yeah.
Let me see you smile.
Wow, he's got really good eyesight.
I would have liked, since he's the new neighbor, to have him try to like save someone. Some accident, something happens, a tree's about to fall on him, something,
and he zips in.
And he saves someone. And they go, wow, I can't believe whatever it was. Well, I saw the thing, and he has to make excuses. But the daughter knows that he's something. She's looking through the telescope.
We also, in that same scene, proved his eyesight is ridiculous because he peeped a pin from like
Little
4 miles
tiny
away.
thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So all his senses are amazing, and we know he also lives like forever because he mentioned how long ago his love was.
Yeah. You'll be better, stronger, faster. You'll live for eternity and never age.
And that picture is like painted. It's so old.
Yeah, it's like a sepia tone picture of the exact same actress, and you're my long lost whatever. Is she a secret werewolf? What's going on?
Well,
and I know what you're thinking, but also, what are you?
She got scratched.
Before that.
I don't think so. Why?
Because she's like, I'm not a vegetarian anymore. I just need protein, right? Like, there's all this other stuff.
But you're supposed to be a vegetarian. I don't know. It's like my body's craving protein.
I think that was him.
Doing it to her?
I think he has a way with women was one of his powers too. You're like, dude, the level of powers this guy has, like, who the fuck? And I wonder if he could use the wrapped skin to not turn into a werewolf.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to give him control over it completely or something.
Well, only when it's wrapped, and he seems to not keep it wrapped. I would have that fashioned into like a bracelet and just have it on me all the time.
Exactly, like a fly ass.
Why wouldn't you?
One of those, like leather buckle things.
Like a Hercules
that a dude
type
like
of thing,
him would wear. Yeah, exactly. No,
and
yeah,
he drives a motorcycle. I love a kid like, oh, what kind of bike is it? Oh, it's got 2 wheels. That's a Harley.
I bet it's a Harley. Yeah, it's horrible. No, it's.
And there's a motorcycle parked out front.
Awesome. What kind of bike?
I don't know. Something with 2 wheels.
That's a Harley.
Harley.
I love that. And I don't know what kind of bike it was. It has the wolf on it, and you're like, oh, symbolism.
See,
and like
that wolf is a symbol for a wolf.
That street they're on seems like a very popular street. There's like a school or a park right across the way. Like, then you have a half werewolf guy just like on a fence perch, just like feet away from the sidewalk. And you're like,
Lord, please. No, it's me still. It's still me.
I don't want to hurt you. Just go.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and like the motorcycle coming and going at 3 o'clock in the morning with hose, bringing like hookers back to the back to the crib. That's amazing too.
Her breaking in and writing like he's gonna kill you. What a daring move.
She's great.
Yeah, not subtle at all.
She's daring.
It's great. And she like looks for that when she brings the police in there. Like what? Where's the proof of my breaking and entering? What the fuck?
I have to tell these cops that I was in here.
Yeah, very strange.
You can see the freezer from here, and she's like, "Fuck you. Let's just go." All right. I liked a lot of the like the dumb things that I liked. The fact that like, well, we'll just do this anonymous tip, and the cops just show up. Like we know where we know where you call from. Like nothing's really anonymous.
They're just two grown men cops in a young girl's bedroom. They wouldn't do it in the living room.
No, you gotta go to the bedroom.
Gotta go to the bedroom.
It starts like touching stuff. Yeah. This is a weird thing. One of those cops is like one of the lead characters on Earth Final Conflict.
What's going on?
I'm afraid they've both been missing since last night. Oh, God. Angie's car was found this morning on Stone Height Road abandoned.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think that.
And I was like, because I'm like, your voice sounds really familiar. Who are you? And I had to like find it, but yes. it was bothering me because he was so familiar.
Earth Final Conflict was one of those annoying shows for me. That it would be on like the Sunday like lineup like with your Hercules, with your Xena, with your Relic Hunter, and it didn't fit the model. And I was like, get this shit out of here. Is Andromeda on yet?
I ended up watching a lot of that show, and I don't know why. And I think I was like okay with it, but TV used to be different. You should just watch whatever was on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Gene Roddenberry.
Rather watch The X-Files or Cleopatra 2525.
Oh, fuck me slowly.
So 2 more things about the werewolf. Like one, the fire fear is all well and good. Animals naturally fear fire. But the way he reacts to a cigarette being lit, I'm like, my God, man, what are you doing?
Sorry.
How is he going to the bar and picking up these hoses? There's probably all sorts of fire happening.
How is he even using a stove? Like,
that's
the
right.
Fuck?
He's cooking on the stovetop.
Yeah.
He should be petrified.
Exactly. I do like that his eyes glow in the dark. I think that's cool. He would have obviously known every moment she was looking at him too, because he can hear anything.
Yeah.
So it's weird to have him ever not know something's happening. But
I did like that he turns off the shower to like listen more. That was a good little detail, stuff like that. Okay, I'll take it.
The redheaded friend had one of the funniest bits I think in the movie. She dies, like her like guts and blood just like fall to the ground. She goes, ew. And then dies.
Does she?
Yeah.
What? I don't remember that at all.
Ew.
Ew.
Dies.
Oh, it sucks. This is not good at all.
It's a squirrel.
Come on, guy, let's just go, okay?
You relax, we're all alone.
So you mentioned the friend. There's a lot of time devoted to convincing her or trying to convince her. She ends up ditching her, and then she pays for it with her life, and I like that a little bit.
The worst boyfriend possible.
You know, he's trying to get his...
Hello, is there anyone there?
As
I
you
just didn't like his face.
No, he sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone sucks.
Hey!
I like this interplay between the two of them, like, because to me this kind of felt like a step-parent thriller of some sort, and I kind of wanted it to be more like that. I wanted it to be, there's a new guy in town, you've got like a single mom right over there. She was a single mom, right? I'm making that up? Okay. And like the younger brother's hanging out with him, he's kind of filling the dad role, and then maybe he's like helping out. Well, I can solve that for you. Hold on, let me just do this. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Starts to do stuff, and then the daughter's like, no, he's eating people, he's crazy. And it's like, oh,
I saw him with hookers.
Yeah, he's bringing hookers over and killing them. And the mom's like, oh, listen, I know you're like threatened, but it's not serious. And everyone thinks she's just like, you're not my real dad, right? And I felt like that was so obvious to do in this movie, and they didn't do anything else. They just kind of did half of that and then did nothing, and it was just this weird like hodgepodgey thing. I like when stuff clicks a little tighter than they were doing there, you know?
Yeah. It didn't click. It would have been nice to have like the dating touch, and even not to know he's a werewolf at first. Just be like, I saw him bring a lady over. He brought ladies over.
Listen, and just sorry, but like the whole thing too of him like he's like is he like 20 years older than her? I think like the actors and actresses.
Easily.
He's so old. He's so much older than her, and everyone's just like, I think he's like giving you the eyes, and I'm like, what the fuck? So like that,
Don't be a stranger.
He's definitely scoping you.
He's trying to like Christy Elia, deal with he's trying to like Christy Elia you, whatever. But yes, like to have that in there before you even know that he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
And we just think it's this creepy thing. We're like, he's kind of interested in the mom, and it's convenient he moved in, and now he's like filling out their family in a weird way. But then he's like, oh no, I'm interested in you, and it's like, oh, he's a creepy sex, pedophile pervert, and he's like, no, I'm interested in you because you remind me of my 200-year-old dead wife, and I want to reincarnate her into you, or just turn you into her, or just convince you to be her instead because you kind of resemble her.
Well, it seems like once she would have fully conformed like to being a werewolf, that she probably would have been like under his control, because already just from having the scratch, he could like speak into her head, which I thought was a cool play of it.
Melissa, you can't fight me.
Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up.
What'd I say?
So
wasn't he already doing that? She's like, I can hear Melissa.
Yes, but it was and another great line was like, Melissa, did you hear that? Of course, I'm not deaf, because he did say it out loud.
Melissa.
Did you hear that?
Of course I'm not deaf.
Well, and like the reverse of when he's talking into her head, and she goes, "Shut up!" And he's like, "What'd I say?" Like he's like, "Oh."
But I like the idea that, because think about how powerful that would be if you're like this alpha of your wolf pack and you can just talk to every one of them. And I don't know if they can talk back or if they have to audibly talk back, but even just be able to give instructions is pretty powerful.
Yeah, you can like feel their presence and like inform them. Like he talks out loud to his familiar, but I don't know if they have that same bond too, but he says like, we understand each other.
Well, the
like,
dog talked to him without saying anything. It didn't bark, it didn't say something, so because they can do something.
Because after she leaves, like, oh, she's hot, huh? Like he's responding as if the dog is beaming stuff into his head.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
She's hot, huh?
I think it's very strange how quickly the hooker's disappearance is on the news.
Yes.
Because who's reporting a hooker missing? And like, it was the next morning, a hooker's been reported missing. I'm like, what?
Top of the news tonight, the new guy in town is killed again. And you're like, what the fuck?
In other crime news, police now fear a missing prostitute is the victim of foul play.
26-year-old Susan Kirkwood, whose street name is Carla.
Because like that should have been it. Is like, wait, the night you moved in was the fog night. That's when the pedophile died. Wait a minute. Oh, and there have been other people that like no one knows and like no one cares are dead. And you have to add it up and be like, oh wait, the hookers have been dying and like like the kids up at Lookout Point and all these weird, It
would have been great to have a scene the next day when the mom finally did come back and all this business is done. They killed this.
Oh God!
There's no, there's no proof of it, but there is a bit where like he's like pissing beer like across the house, like like pissing beer, like pissing.
Tread on another predator's territory, and you get bit.
Miming that he's beering.
But glass, he smashes the bottle.
Yep.
Other glasses get smashed during her target practice. She smashes a glass. So it would have looked like a fucking rager happened in his house. But that didn't get that payoff.
This is another one that just ends.
Yeah.
They are literally, and like, like the Renfield, I keep wanting to call him the boyfriend. I guess he's going to be the boyfriend of her, right?
By the end, he's the boyfriend. Yeah, he fucking earned it.
Yeah, but like, he just kind of like falls out of the car from off frame and there's like a flash of light, like he's magicked back.
You know what? I think we're on time.
So then I'm to assume that, Kevin Sorbo and her are also magicked away from the vampire thing, even though they both got scratched. Kevin Sorbo, like, just got scrapped? What did I say?
You said vampire. But
you know what I mean?
I do.
Supernatural creatures.
But yeah, so that's something I made a mental note of.
Why did Kevin Sorbo even get scratched if he was instantly going to kill the werewolf and be done and, like, undo it?
Well,
it doesn't make any sense.
The plan that if I can fill in this blank here, the werewolf is pinned to a tree, but that is not going to kill him. But they thought he was going to die. Yeah. And now he's like, it's too late. Because even if he dies after midnight, they have to kill the one that turns you before midnight or you turn. So his, I think, dying act was like, now all you motherfuckers are going to turn because I'm going to die in a minute and a half, not a minute. And you're all going to be werewolves. And even if I'm out of here, there's 3 more werewolves taking my place. Yeah, my lineage is strong.
I would like to watch that movie.
The thing I liked about that was I'm like she gets scratched.
Now your soul is mine.
With 20 minutes to midnight, and I'm like, damn. At least the kid had 8 hours. He could actually do something.
Yeah, fighting chance.
I'm like, you don't have that much time. And then it gets even worse for Kevin Sorbo, where I'm like, you had a minute.
It's 30 seconds.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Ugh. Poor timing. The last line from our boy who falls out of the car, though, is he's like, because seemingly his memory's a little fucked.
It's crazy.
He's like, hey, wait, my clothes are all ripped. You're covered in goo. What happened?
My clothes are ripped and you're covered in goo. What happened?
It's okay. Everything's gonna be all right.
This is how it usually goes.
I like he's optimistic. He's like, oh yeah. Maybe something good.
Something happened. Hercules is here. I'm sure we got crazy last night.
Did we have some legendary journeys?
I took you on a legendary journey, girl. No, yeah. And he doesn't remember anything, which makes no sense because he remembered things when he was transformed.
He was acting in character, doing things like...
I know it doesn't have to work like that, but it doesn't make sense to me, as a viewer.
It's more if you want that funny line.
I guess. Write another better, funnier line. I also thought that when the kid gets out of the closet, I was really amped up. Oh, he's already been scratched. This is all a plot. He's in on it. He's gonna come out. You think he's gonna start to help, and then it's gonna be a turn thing. Mm-hmm. Oh shit! Nothing happens with that, right? I also though liked how the little brother tries to help, fails miserably.
Yeah.
Then the boyfriend rushes in with his new power, and he's gonna help. Fails miserably,
He
like
gets tossed out
instantly.
the fucking
I'm like,
window.
it's perfect.
Get off her!
Perfect. I'm like, I love how easily they just fail. You just smacks them down.
The werewolf dude throws her like makeshift thing, like, and it goes right through the door, and you're like, okay, that's gonna be used later.
Yeah.
There's two other things that I wanted callbacks to that I thought were gonna get used later that were not. So when she first walks into his house, she steps on like a weak step. And then like moves over to the left and then goes up. And you think that later either he or her or someone is gonna fall because of that. Like they're gonna step through
They do the
that.
wet bandit leg through the stair thing. Exactly.
And then like even a few moments later, as she's walking in the house, she gets tumbled up in a drop cloth and like makes a note, like looks at it like, fuck you. And I'm like, oh yeah, later either the werewolf is gonna like a dog on tile is gonna like fly out of the frame because of that drop cloth, or she's gonna like Last Girl, a movie she was in, and like trip on that fucking thing, like or Final Girl rather, fucking it up.
Damn. No, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. That was most of my like frustration. Is I want there to be some more stuff, and they just like they just cheer and then there's credits. They just like, we got him, and they kill they kill the werewolf by loading the barrel of the gun into the crossbow and shooting it like it's a bolt.
I didn't dislike
this.
You
loved this
because I like that it called back to the fact that he has a gun that's that's silver plated,
right?
And like. Just his comment of, doesn't that count for something? I thought that's hysterical. And when he first shoots him, the werewolf does disappear. I'm like, did that count for something?
Did that count for something? Or like microscopic?
Did the
fiber?
Did flex? I'm like, but you don't plate the inside. That doesn't make sense.
It's only the inside's plated.
Yeah, well, it was from Alabama, so.
Though, like the whole thing was dipped. It's just ornamental. You're not supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. It just explodes the first shot.
When he drops it out of the tree, it like breaks into several pieces.
I got him.
Yes, it does.
Which might be what guns are supposed to do, but in movies they don't. So I was like, what are you doing? Why'd the gun shatter?
Well, when they're breaking the lock on the fridge, she uses the butt of his gun, and he's like, oh, my gun!
Man. He's not here.
Maybe he knew it was fragile.
He knew, like, this is just a prop. That, like, honestly, but like that would have turned me around on it. Where he's like, that's just a prop. Like, it doesn't work. I'm a fake guy. I'm sorry. I really wanted him to like like a
meltdown.
Yeah, because he was doing so well with the acting. It felt like it was like cut short, even though it's not like like the length is not short.
No.
But I felt like he should have had a turn where he like runs away scared and then comes back.
He did. He ran away and ended up in a tree.
I mean, yes, but he
left that girl to die.
He like tactically retreated to the tree and then helped from the tree and all that stuff, right? I don't know.
Usually, but only because he was chased into the tree.
Yeah,
he didn't really do a lot of heroic things on his own.
Usually, when I complain about things, the movie like kind of did it or like kind of did it anyway or something like that. But I mean, I just wanted him to have that sort of growth or journey where he's pretending and then freaks out. Oh wait, this is real. You're serious. Or the other way around, where he's like, I'm gonna do this, and then like or like chickens out and comes back. He like the movie kind of does that because when he first shows up, he says, "Well, you said you couldn't let people die. I can't let people die either. I'm doing it, right?"
You told me people are gonna die. You said you couldn't live with it on your conscience. Well, you know what? Neither can I. So tonight, we hunt the beast.
Right? But there wasn't really like a big contrast between him before and after.
A good thing for him might have been like for at the end, a post credit would have been like, I'm Red Tucker, and here we are on Paranormal Investigators.
Oh my God.
Like something like that.
That is a 20 out of 10 maneuver to do. Where now he's like hunting the paranormal. Like we're looking for Sasquatch or something like that. And he has this like renewed career where he has a cult following at his 2 a.m. show where they're really into him doing this. That would have been perfect.
Like you could even tie the thing like it cuts to like the news and like they run the hooker's missing again story. It's like footage from the outdoor store shows that our blah blah shot a demon dog. Like, and then it spins into like a weird New Jersey cover and a blah blah thing. He's in a tabloid, and then it's like, here I am, Red Tucker, hunting Sasquatch.
Paranormal, where he's like, That would have been awesome.
That could have been fun.
Yeah, but I'm also just really open-minded, so.
But I think I like this movie more than you did.
Yeah.
I thought it's fun. It's like a fun shit movie. You know, this is kind of like the pocket for me. Like these 2000s mid movies were like movies like didn't have these crazy budgets, but a lot of them came out, and they would have, you know, big name actor for a little while, something that would be like, ooh, Kevin Sorbo in a movie, ooh, let's see this thing. And this fits into that, where it's just right enough, where it's probably like, you know, $1 million, $2 million budget, something like that. I didn't actually see. Did you happen to catch?
I did not notice the budget. No.
I'm thinking at most 7, but I think under 5 is probably.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable. I think I was pleasantly surprised by Kevin Sorbo, and like,
always am.
We talked about some of the. Well, sometimes I'm unpleasantly surprised.
Well, I'm always pleasantly surprised when I see him. Sometimes the welcome wears out.
That's what I mean. I actually he withstood his welcome or something like that.
And definitely.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like my life is worse because I watched this.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Everything you need, a wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion